Today I will tell you a warm fuzzy tale by Claude Steiner. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a happy couple called Tim and Maggie. They had two children, Lucy and John, and to understand how happy they actually were, you need to understand how things were at that time. People were born with a bag of warm fuzzies. Every single child that was born were born with a bag of warm fuzzies. And they could reach into the bag and pull out a warm fuzzy the size of a child's hand. When the fuzzy came out of the bag and saw the light, it would bring on a big smile and become big and fuzzy. And you would put it on top of someone's head or on the shoulder or in their lap if they asked for a warm fuzzy. And it would make them feel warm and fuzzy all over. Now, people were giving warm fuzzies freely to each other. Whenever somebody came up to you, they could ask, "Could I have a warm fuzzy?" You would give them a warm fuzzy. And they would feel warm and fuzzy and nice. And sometimes you would share warm fuzzies even without asking. You were just giving warm fuzzies to people you met on your way during your day. Now, this was all such a wonderful thing to everyone except for the bad witch. She was thinking for herself, how can I sell more of my salves and potions, medicine, when people are so happy and well and almost feeling well always? So she created a wicked plan. One day, when Maggie was out with her children playing on the field and Tim was alone, the wicked witch came up to Tim and whispered him in the ear. "Tim, can you see Maggie playing with your children, giving them a lot of warm fuzzies from her bag?" Tim was, "Yeah." "And you see she's also giving out warm fuzzies to other people?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." "Well, I tell you, one day she has no warm fuzzies left for you if she keeps going like this." Jim got totally surprised because he had never even considered the idea that they could run out of warm fuzzies. So what to do? He started to observe Maggie, and it was true. She was giving out warm fuzzies everywhere, and the kids as well. And he was thinking to himself that one day maybe she will not have warm fuzzies enough for me. And Tim loved Maggie very much, and he really wanted her warm fuzzies. And so he took her aside and asked her, "Maggie, you know what? I was told that there won't be enough warm fuzzies to go around for everyone if you keep giving out so many. So you have to save some of them because I really need your warm fuzzies." And Maggie, who really loved Tim, understood Tim perfectly well, and she said, "Sure, I'll be more careful with giving out my warm fuzzies." Now, the children observed this, that Maggie wasn't giving out her warm fuzzies as freely as before, and neither did Jim. So they started to restrict their warm fuzzies as well, and they didn't give other children as many warm fuzzies as they normally would. The rumor spread into the entire land. People started to restrict the use of warm fuzzies because they really started to worry that one day they would run empty. And the problem was that after a while, when people didn't get enough warm fuzzies, their backs started to crumble, and some would even die of the lack of warm fuzzies. Now, the bad witch really didn't want people to die because she wanted to sell salves and potions. So she thought, I have to sort this. This is going too far. So what she did was she made some new bags with cold pricklies. The bags were given out freely to everyone in the land, so they could all get a bag of cold pricklies, and that bag would never run empty. They could take out as many cold pricklies as they wanted and shared. So people started sharing cold pricklies instead of warm fuzzies, and they saved the warm fuzzies for very special occasions. And some would even work really, really hard to buy warm fuzzies from other people. But the cold pricklies were everywhere, and they could be shared at no cost whatsoever. So when people would come up to you and ask, could I please have a warm fuzzy? You'd say, no, you can't have a warm fuzzy, but you can have a cold prickly. And they would take the cold prickly. Now, some very smart people understood that they could cover the cold prickly with some stuff, some fluffy white stuff, so that it looked almost like a warm fuzzy. Now the confusion became so big because people went and shared and asked for a warm fuzzy, then they got a cold prickly, or maybe they thought they got a warm fuzzy, but they did get a cold prickly, and then it was actually called plastic fuzzies when they were covered cold pricklies. So the confusion was total. Nobody knew what they were getting or what they were asking for, and they all still missed more warm fuzzies. Luckily, something happened. One day came this strong and beautiful woman with big hips and a huge smile into the land. She had been traveling, and when she came back, she didn't know nothing of the wicked witch. She didn't know that the warm fuzzies could be restricted. So what she did was she was sharing her warm fuzzies with everyone who wanted one. So the children loved her. The children came running. Oh, me, can I have a warm fuzzy? And she would gladly give it out to you. Here you are, take my warm fuzzy. And the children would feel warm and fuzzy again, and it was so lovely. And the children saw that she was taking out so many warm fuzzies, sharing with so many people, that they also started to copy her. So they put their hands into their bags and they pulled out a warm fuzzy, gave it to their friends and gave it to the other children and even to their parents and siblings. And now more and more people were getting warm fuzzies, and people were starting to feel better. But the grown-ups of the land started to get very scared, because they thought, what if my child is wasting all the warm fuzzies and not saving anyone for later and for us and for the family? So they actually installed a law to make it criminal to share warm fuzzies freely and with everyone, so that people again should restrict their use of warm fuzzies. The thing was, the children had already now started to share warm fuzzies, and they didn't care. They kept sharing, and the woman got more friends that she shared with. She shared her warm fuzzies. They shared their warm fuzzies with her and with each other, and more people starting to trust again that there were enough warm fuzzies in their bag to last their entire lives. But it is very interesting, because just now we don't know how this story ends. Will Maggie and Jim recall the times when they were really happy living in the land of the happiness? Will other people join this strong and beautiful woman in sharing warm fuzzies all over the land, not being afraid of wasting? Right now, you can join the strong and lovely and beautiful woman with the big hips and the huge smile and share your fuzzies with other people as well. Whenever somebody's asking for a warm fuzzy, give it to them. Share your warm fuzzies with the world and join the forces. Let's share some love.